to the mission editor. Right then guys, for what sort of stuff is it that you're interested in the most, or what sort of things do you want me to go over?
Okay. Let's say you want to plan a strike, and you want the strikers to follow a specific path, a specific plan route.
Yeah, so if I go, like, if you want to pick and choose airfields as well, all you have to do is click on them like that, and then change it to blue or red up there. So say you want to strike Kutaisi, place your aircraft. What aircraft you want is under type, and if you want to give it a name. So say we pick the Viggen. You can only have 4 per flight. So if I change that to 4, that brings up 4 there. It's a 4 ship there now. So if I set waypoints out, so if I set waypoint 1 and waypoint 2 is Kutaisi. So that's this one here, just add. For each waypoint, you can set how fast they're going, the altitude they are, in meters above ground level or meters above sea level, doesn't really matter. If say waypoint 1 now, we'll go into advanced actions. If, for example, you wanted them to change formation, or so depending on the aircraft type, we'll have a certain task. So if it was an AWACS, start a new task would be to perform AWACS. So if I set the option to set option is for anything you want them to perform or an action of doing something. So rules of engagement. If there were any ground targets in between waypoint 1 and waypoint 2 and the position of starting, if I set it to weapons free, he will go for any target he can find. Return fire will only fire if fired upon. Weapons hold, so if you want him to not fire until he reaches a certain point. Priority designated, he will attack target, but his main target will be the priority. Reaction to threat, if for example there's CAP aircraft, you can set him to no reaction just to keep on going. Passive defense, evade fire if he gets fired upon. Evasive vertical maneuver, or you can abort the mission if it's too much of a risk. Radar using, so say for example it's a SEAD aircraft, CAP aircraft, any aircraft that uses the radar, you can only have him switch his radar on at a certain point, say waypoint 1, used for attack only, so he'll only switch his radar on when he gets to within range of the target, or he can continuously search with his radar. So if it was a CAP aircraft with continually searching radar, he can veer off and hunt targets, etc. like that then. So if I go back to the waypoints now then. Right, so you want him to strike waypoint 2, which is Kutaisi. So if I bring that back a bit now. And what I'll do, I'll place a ground unit on Kutaisi. So we'll make that Russian because it's red. As a target. So we'll click back on the waypoint. Right, so we'll call him strike. It just makes it easier when you do the triggers and stuff like that. Giving them a name, you know which ones they are then. Strike 1. Right, so if I click on that, right. Call him I don't know, we'll just call him threat, right? The group, that's the group name. That's the individual unit name. So if I want this AI or client or whatever, if I want them to attack that target, you'll go into advanced, make sure you're on waypoint 2, set your altitude and speed, advanced waypoint actions, add, set option. If you want to set any of them options, you know, for whatever reason you can do, if there's cap in the air, etc. Perform task, attack map object. So once I click that now, it'll bring an arrow here. So I can either set it that way, pick which weapons you want to use, etc. Direction from altitude above, direction from group attack, etc. Or if I click on attack map object, if it's a static object or a certain object you want to hit, if it hasn't got a name or anything. But if I click on bombing, right, hold on, right, it's not bringing it up for some reason. Right, for some reason.
What is the difference between the two? Between bombing and attack map target?
To be honest, I think it's for, if you set like B-52s and you're doing bombing, you can sort of carpet bomb, where attack map object is to attack a specific object. But if you want to do a bombing run, you can attack an area. Right, hold on. For some reason, normally it should be telling me to set that to A10. Start that again. For some reason it's not showing the object. Right, so waypoint 2, attack. Right, so if it's a strike, if you put it down as a strike aircraft, for some reason it wasn't coming up with a VIG, and I don't know why. So I've changed it to A10s now. Right, so we're at waypoint 2. You want him to attack a certain object, just either a group of, you know, shulkers or armor. But we've got one target at the moment, so we want him to attack. You can either attack the group or a unit. So I want to attack the single unit, which will bring up some more options here. So group, it's not a group, it's only one target. Right, so threat, because that's the group, sorry. Right, so threat is a group and threat is a target. So if you wanted to attack a group, but a specific target, you just choose between these two. Weapons, I want him to attack with cannon. And then how many times you want him to do, how many attack runs you want him to do, direction from, altitude above, and it's basically that's all you do for attacking the unit. To set weapons, you just come into this icon here, the weapon icon, pick which loadout you want, or if you want to set out a new loadout, just click new, and then right click and choose your loadout.
Just a note for you guys, if you do a loadout in the mission editor, it will save it for your multiplayer, so if you do want to set up any custom multiplayer loadouts, do it in mission editor and have them set up in multiplayer.
Yeah. Same on the weapons page, you've got the skins as well then. So if I wanted to pick my A10 skin, it's not working. That's the wrong one. That's my old one. Right, so there, sorry. And then you can zoom into the wheel mouse or whatever you want. And then that's your skin then. We've got like the desert camo, whatever else you want. Fuel quantity, and that's the total weight of your current loadout. And that's just, don't really use that anyway. I'm trying to think. All the missions I make, do you know I'm trying to think of stuff now? My mind's gone blank.
It's performance anxiety.
Yeah, getting worked up to it. Right, what else? What else do you want to know, guys?
Right, I've got a question based on a mission I'm making for myself to begin with, but might explore.
Yeah.
How do I get I got two questions and they're linked.
Yeah.
First one is how do I get a target to circle? Like,
Circle a
it,
waypoint.
yeah, no, cycle. Like, say I want to set it up so that it flies from point to point to point to point continuously, going through 4 waypoints. So
So,
use your map for an example. Let's say I have a blue flight of F-15. No, let's say F-16s that start north of Senaki Koki,
let's just say there.
and then they say go down to I don't know Kubaleti, and then over to Kataisi, and then back to where they started. Is there any way, without doing that 90 times, that I can just tell the aircraft that every time it completes that, to loop it around and restart that series of waypoints?
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I'll have a look now. Because you can do as well. Say you wanted, say you set your cap to that route.
Yeah.
You can put it in the like a random or switch condition that you can fly there, and there. Next time he comes round, you can fly there, there. Or once he gets to there, you'll go back to here and back up there.
Yeah, the point is that if I wanted a patrolling aircraft.
Right, if I go to... No, that's not it. Right, that's if you want... No, that's not it. Right.
Yeah, follow Farzan ways if you wanted to escort a target.
Yeah. The only ones I know as far of are Orbit. Right.
But orbit, I'm guessing, is only around one waypoint.
No, you can have Orbit on every waypoint you want. So you can orbit that one. So you can set each waypoint for him to orbit around each waypoint in Raystack or Circle. The only one I know of that is to continuously orbit is with sort of scripting. You can set him to what is it? From task. From command. No. Right, so if you set him to cap,
Yeah.
he will continuously. I'm sure if you set it to cap, he'll continuously fly round. So he'll continuously fly round until he runs out of fuel or runs out of weapons, and then he'll return to base. So if I
Right, so that would be a case of take him off from the ground, give him a cap command at a target area, and then leave him be.
yeah, so say you set him to cap now, he'll continuously rotate on those waypoints. But say you only wanted him to, say the target area was waypoint 3. If you wanted him to only sort of hunt at waypoint 3, sort of, as to say, so you'd search to engage, search then engage a certain zone. So if you put a zone down, search then engage unit, engage group, depending on what aircraft type it is. But you can set him to, say at waypoint 3, you can set him to actually search and hunt for aircraft, fighters, bombers, helicopters. So he'll hunt around that area, and then he'll go back to his cap area then. But if he doesn't find nothing, he'll rotate back to his waypoint. Whereas if he'll sort of change altitude and actually hunt for aircraft, he'll actually, if he picks up a helicopter, he will go in for the kill.
So what you're saying is, if I do go another example. So take off Senaki Kolki.
Yeah.
Fly to Kubaleti, and Kubaleti's the target zone. If I set cap, where would I set the cap in that respect?
Just to the waypoint. So I'd go click on that waypoint, or switch back to it. Again, whatever altitude you want. Advanced waypoint action. So perform task would be to, if you wanted him to orbit that waypoint, start en route task, and then search then engage in a zone. So if I pick that one, that's my zone. So say for example now, that's his waypoint, but you know possible enemy fighters could come in that zone. You'd click on search then engage in zone. He'll fly over to this area here and hunt for aircraft. So I could.
And how long does he do that before he goes back to the rest of the waypoints?
Depending on fuel, I'd imagine. But I'm not sure. You could in the trigger zone. I think in the trigger zone you can set the time.
There is a stop condition, maybe this one.
Ah, sorry. Yeah. There. So, right. So say you'll get that waypoint at 12:10.
So we say stop the waypoint at say 12:30.
So time is more from 9 minutes past 12 until 23 minutes past. That's when he'll return back to his waypoint then. So he'll arrive there and he'll hunt in that area until for 10 minutes. Does that make sense?
Yep, I think.
And again, you got to search if you want to find a specific group, unit, again, sort of ground stuff. And again, like you already know, if you wanted him to fly to waypoint 2, and if you wanted him to escort a unit or escort a flight package, form task, follow, and then pick the group you want him to follow, the distance, elevation, interval, and they'll normally default to the last waypoint. So if you set waypoint 2 to follow a group and that group had 4 waypoints left, unless you uncheck that or pick the waypoint, he'll default to their last waypoint, and then he'll return back to his waypoints then.
So the trick would be to set only a couple of waypoints for a bomber escort. Say 1 to intercept the bombers, and then 2 to pick up once the bombers have done their stuff. 2 would be get back to base.
Yeah, so say I put bombers here now, and he had 3 waypoints. I'll just leave that as a name for now, right? So if I go back to this one, shit. Right, hold on. If I go back to this group here, at waypoint 2, I want him to perform task, follow new airplane group, which is the one there. So it'll automatically default to his last waypoint. But if he was bombing at waypoint 1, say, and waypoint 2 he was on his way home, I just uncheck that. I only want him to. Oh, sorry. Right, so keep that. Sorry. Right, so I only want him to follow that group until they hit waypoint 2. Once he hits waypoint 2, he'll go back to his waypoint and then go back into his rotation then.
Makes sense.
Right. What's next? Try to think.
Is it possible to change routing for an aircraft after a certain condition?
Say it again, sorry.
Is it possible to change routing for an aircraft after a certain condition?
Sorry.
If I
Say it again, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my mic cut out then.
Is it possible to change the routing of an aircraft if a certain condition is met?
Yes, that's all in the triggers. So say a lot of stuff I haven't really touched on, but I will. Right, so say I set his waypoints to there. So if I so if I set a trigger zone here, right there. So you can pick, the colors. So so if I put that switch condition. So once you made the trigger, name your trigger, how big you want the trigger. So if you wanted the condition to change when, say, a flight come into that zone, or a bomb goes off, whatever the condition. So if I set that, say like 10,000, we'll pick blue. Right. So right, new airplane group. Right. So say I set. Right. We'll just give him some waypoints. Right, so say I wanted him to this one here. Say to say he wanted to, you wanted him, what sort of condition did you want? Say if you wanted him to RTB, once this, say that was a transport helicopter, once that flight reaches there, if it was say too dangerous, and you wanted him to RTB instead of being shot down or divert, right, hold on. My movie's right round a bit. Right, so that's my trigger zone. Right, so I'd go into the rules of trigger here. Right, so say I wanted that package there.
Sorry, can you just show us where the rules of trigger is again? I missed that.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Right, so what the trigger zone is here. So that's where you'd pick your trigger, your colour and the name. This one here, set rules for trigger. The third one down under MIS. So I'd click on that one. So the type, you want once is if after once it'll happen. A continuous action is if you want it to continually happen. A switch condition is that it'll only happen under a certain condition, like if blue came into red, red came into blue, etc. And at mission start is if you want it to happen from mission start. So if I go into switch condition, just call that switch. It just helps giving names to everything, so you can keep track then. Right, so say I wanted all of coalition in zone is all the blue side in one zone. Out of zone, say if all of the blue were in that switch condition area, if they were all out of there, you could change it to that airbase is red and things like that. Right, so if I go to, just do all of coalition in zone. So we want red, and the zone is switch condition. Right. And these are what actions that'll happen. So if I go to, you can have explode different units. What sort of condition did you say you wanted? Sorry.
To be honest, it really doesn't matter. It
User
can be
joined your channel.
aircraft destroyed, or I know some flag set to some certain value.
Right.
So maybe just to action.
If I
let's say if one group is destroyed, he will proceed to he will perform a different task on a different route. Let's say.
trying to think what it is now.
So what's happening?
I'll just go over the mission editor. I'm trying to do stuff now. My mind's gone bloody blank. Flag set random value. I'll have to check that one. I can't remember to be honest with you. So if I say, well, I'll do this one for now, there, right? If that helicopter flight there were on this route to say transport or attack, but have no cover, if there's red in the area, I can think. Right, so if there's red, once that red, if you want cap to activate, once there's any enemy in the area, you go back to set rules for trigger.
Yeah, activation will be easy, but if we speak of the same unit to change the tasking, yeah, is it even possible?
To be honest, I'm not sure of it in the mission editor itself without scripting.
Ah, okay, okay.
I know mission editor stuff. I don't know. I don't know everything, but as far as I know, the only one to do that is with like Mist and CLTD and all that. As far as I know.
So what you're saying is, so let's take an alternative example using what you've got set up. Red hits that zone, blue helicopter instantly explodes. How do we do that?
Right. So say, right. Let me delete that 1 second then. Right. So what's that called? Right. Blue. Right. So that's the trigger zone. Right, so if you wanted to happen once, or as soon as he comes into that zone, change it to once. Right, so I change that to part of grouping zone. Change that to red. The zone, switch condition, the zone name. And then all you do is explode unit and blue, and that's it.
Okay.
And the volume of the explosion.
Hold on, what does volume mean?
Just how big the explosion is. So if I test that out now, and right, so if I go there, right, if I just delete his waypoints. Right, so let me just check the rules again. Right, so part of group in zone red and explode blue, right? So if I check that.
Hold on, unit blue. Is that called blue now?
Yeah, no, I just called it blue, I did. So if I just check that works now. Do you know all the stuff I do? I'm trying to think of stuff now, my mind's gone completely blank. Right, so there's blue. So the red is 20 kilometers away. There we are. He just exploded.
Yeah, that's cool. Alright, I've got another question related to triggers then.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's say, leave that trigger where it is. I don't know, you might have to change it, but leave it where it is. So let's say I had a blue, doesn't matter what, but something blue flies into trigger zone. I want it to play audio file. How do I get it to play a certain audio file?
Right, so if I'll set the right. So if I wanted him now to fly here, I'd go right. So waypoint 1 is in that zone. Again, rules for trigger. Everything is set in rules for trigger. So we'll just use right. So right, just call it that. Right. So if it was any of the blue side or any of the red side, or if you just want it to happen when a specific unit comes through, you just go to part of grouping zone. That's the name of the aircraft or the group. That's zone. go down to message to all is just text message or country. Go down to sound to all, or if it's just a specific coalition, country or group, sound to all. And then we'll go into, say, that one. I use Audacity to, I use YouTube Downloader to download off YouTube any audio that I want. Put it into Audacity, select the bits I want, and then convert it to OGG files is what DCS uses.
Right. Just out of interest, can you give us a link for Audacity?
Yeah, what I'll do now, I'll do this, and then I'll put Audacity on the screen, and I'll go through that with you as well then. So if I just basically, right, so let me know if you can hear this one now.
Hell, I need you, come on, Joe!
I didn't hear anything.
The sound's not coming through, is it?
Play it again.
Hell, I need you, come on, Joe!
No, we're not hearing anything. Or at least I'm not.
Alright, for some reason sound doesn't come through TeamViewer, don't know why. And again, there's multiple actions in your, you can pick. Do script is to do with like the LUA files and CTLD and MIST and all that. Flag increase and decrease, basically you set the flag numbers for true or false. Group activate. Christ, I'm trying to think of things now, but even mine's blank. Right, so say, let me open a mission a second. Right, so if I open my new one, the one I made this week, if I can find it. Alright, Cox Offensive, right. I've hidden a lot of stuff on here. Right, so say this is how it'll look in a game. I missed. Let's say one of my trigger zones out, I just want to message them. Let's just message to all. Sound. I won't show that because it's all MIST and LCLTD and stuff. What other stuff to go over, guys? My mind's gone completely blank. I like a retard today.
Alright, here's a nice easy one. If we wanted to run a multiplayer mission that all you do is start on the ground, take off an aircraft, fly to point A, return to base, what do we have to do to make that be able to say have 4 players in 4 different aircraft?
Yeah, actually, no. Right, so if I wanted to start at Sochi, right, so we go, just call it 8 tens. We want 4 of these.
No, that's what I'm saying, 4 different aircraft, so
4 different, sorry,
groups.
Right, so we put one there.
Just making it a little bit more complex so we learn a bit.
Right, so we'll make sure you get, the main point is give them different names, so that's just makes it a lot easier and they don't get, let's call him 1, just call him 1, then pick the second group, big gun, 2, I go third group, I go Hawk. Right, so set the 4 groups there now. Always want to switch this to take off from ramp. You can either take off from runway. Do you want it for client or for AI?
That's what I'm saying, multiplayer mission.
Right, so for any aircraft you want in multiplayer for someone to use, it's always going to be set to client. So once I switch to client, that'll make it player usable. If it's not set to client, it'll be AI. So once I set the client, you can either start on the runway, but normally from the ramp. So you take off from the ramp, and then that'll put it in the parking space then. And this is where you can pick the parking spaces for the aircraft. So if I go 1, you sit over there. So go client, take off from ramp, client, for every separate group, you'll have to set individual waypoints as well then. So basically, and then it's literally just add the waypoint you want then. So I want them to fly there, there, there. And when you want them to land, you can either set the waypoint. So if I wanted to just make it easier, you can set the, you can just set the waypoint straight in. So you could name that waypoint as base leg or whatever, or finals, and then set it to there then. And I want that as landing, and that'll move it there then once you've chosen landing. And again, the advanced waypoints don't really make a difference for the client, it's only AI. Before, once that's set now, that's your waypoint set then. And if you want to name the waypoint, it's just name. So target 1, and that'll come up in your head then as target 1, depending on which aircraft you're in. The only pain with Mission Ed is there's no 3D view, so you can't actually see, if you put ground units there now, you can't see them without actually going into it. So if I set like a target there now, Russian, and then you'd basically set your waypoint. If you wanted to over your target, you basically just set it like that. If you want him to off-road, on-road formations, if I set it to on-road, he'll go on to the nearest road and only follow the road. Off-road, he'll follow, basically drive anywhere.
So if you set a waypoint and you set it as on road for the time,
yeah,
no matter where you place it on the map, he will use the road to get there.
Yeah, so say I've got him set as off-road now, but at waypoint 1 to waypoint 2, I want to set him to follow the road. I'd switch to waypoint 1, click on road, and for some reason it's gone mental. Right, so obviously basically because of the roads, it's nowhere near a road, it's gone to the nearest road. So if I switch waypoint 2 to on the road, there, so he'll follow the road because there's no roads near there. So obviously like a satellite view, map views and stuff. So he'll drive over the mountains to the road, and then he'll follow the road then. If like on my naval mission you want to blow a bridge up, because you can't set it to the bridge being the destruction of the bridge, I'd normally set a unit on the bridge and for a trigger to go off once that trigger's dead, which will make the so that when the bomb blows the bridge up as well, it'll set the trigger off, or you can set it to just a bomb in the area. But say you set that to if I set that to air defense, if I set that, say, is like an SA-15, I don't need none of them. So if you want him to engage at will, again it's weapons free. So if I set that weapons free, rules of alarm state, auto if you only want him to engage once he picks up targets, or red he will continuously search for targets. And engage air weapons basically once you've set that, and alarm state to red, he'll be in full alert scanning and hunting to kill people. Again, like just the ships are pretty temperamental. The main cruisers, I've tried, well, I started using them, then I sort of steered away from them because they were just too ridiculous. But if you wanted to put a ship in, let me pick a... see, Normandy. Right, so that's a range, a hell of a range on the Normandy. Right, so I want him to come here and here. I don't want him to engage yet. So alarm state green. Right, so rules of engagement, weapons hold. Waypoint 1, rules of engagement, weapons hold.
Will it not be a case if you set weapons hold on waypoint 0, it will stay the same on waypoint 1 and 2 until you give it a counter order?
Sometimes it sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, depending on the mission area, it plays up sometimes. But if you wanted to just set it as weapons hold, by waypoint 2 you want him to say there was a FARP or something, a Sochi. Right, so if you set fire at point, they will just fire their guns at that point. They'll basically spray it with that, or if there's any targets there, they'll just keep firing until they blow it up.
What if there aren't any targets, will they still shoot?
Yeah, they think they will. Try it now. I suppose I just set it there a second then. Fucking thing.
User left your channel.
Pause that a second. Right, come to him. Now the American ships are pretty restricted on how much stuff you can use. The Russians have bloody loads of choice. it doesn't look like we do.
Maybe you should have set it closer to its initial waypoint just for this test.
So if I pick that now, it was a... Right, hold on. So if I change that to Russia... I go... Right, so if I'll change it to a Russian ship. I don't... It might not without targets, eh? I've never really tried it.
Well, what I want to know is whether I can set up, like, say, a long-range artillery battery
you can
just
do
to
it.
fire RS.
Yeah, you can do it as artillery. Artillery will do it.
So what, you just set waypoint initial to be fire at target.
Yeah, fire a point on target, and they'll just bombard it then. No, they don't. I've never noticed the cranes working before. Right, so if I put some targets there then, right? Right, so if I put right, so if we try that then. It does work because I done on naval blockade, but I had a FARP set up. Might be depending on the ship as well. I'll get it working now. They will fire from that range. I think it's just dependent on the ship. It is. Me pick a bigger ship.
Maybe you do not have any weapons on the ship.
Oh, look at that.
Well, that'll be why.
Oh, it's got right. It's got fire point. That's the initial point, right? Sorry. Right. Right. So if I change it to there, then right. Go. Your weapons free. And change them to alarm set red. Pick a bigger ship as well. Right. I'll just put them completely in the red. Fucking hell. The only thing with the big cruisers, when they are in alarm set red and fire at will, they'll just launch cruise missiles and completely obliterate everything from bloody miles away.
So really, you want to keep them alarm state green right until they're in their target area, and then just get them to attack target zone.
Yeah, do like the naval blockade mission. I had them on weapons free, and they were taking out from the north. They were taking out things down in Sochi, and it was ridiculous. So I had to sort of only let one of them fire at like waypoint 1. Right, so
Yeah, I remember testing that.
so his weapons are already pointing at the enemy now. There we are. Bloody hell.
And that's because he's on weapons free.
Yeah, and alarm set red, so he will be looking for the enemy then. I'll send him down. And again, you can set AI helicopters to take off and land on ships, the same as an airfield.
I just thought of another question, but I seem to be hogging all your time, so why don't the other guys ask the questions?
Yeah, carry on, guys. Ask away. Yeah, my mind's gone bloody blank. So whatever you want to ask, just ask. I'm sorry if I can't answer it. And again, if you want to set the helicopter to take off and land, right, just set the waypoint to there. Set the waypoint on top of the ship, and at that waypoint, I want him to land. Right, hold on. What the hell? Ah, right, that's right. Russia, K-50. Right, I want him to land there. There we are. So he'll fly in or land on that ship. Or if you just want him to take off from the ship, put him near the ship. Take off from ramp. And he'll take off from that ship then. And that's as easy as that. What else is it? The alarm state and weapons free is basically the same for every single ground unit and unit on whether it's air or ground. And what other stuff you got, guys?
I might have one more question.
Yeah.
Regarding placing units, if I
Yeah.
need to be really precise, especially on the slopes.
Yeah.
And I'm really annoyed by back and forward with flying the mission, loading it,
Yes.
checking
yeah.
the unit, correcting it. Is it any clever idea to, I know, run two sessions of DCS, or I know some any other tricky idea?
There is a mission. There is a hack out there where you can have. James has done it where you can have another window open with DCS open, so you can actually see where you place new units, but it doesn't go with update. So if like DCS will update, it'll just completely crash it. But as far as I'm aware, there's no sort of normal or tidy 3D editor out there for it. There is a hacked one, but I'm not sure how sort of effective it is, and if it'll work after updates and stuff. Because that's one thing I get annoyed about, is bloody you have to go in and out to check stuff. So it's like start, like a static unit. You know, you can move it around. I know you go by the T, but that's sort of the only option of placing a static unit without sort of going into it and looking, then go back out. And again, the FARP's basically call signs, name, frequency. Yeah, I'm not aware of no 3D like Arma 3 is the best mission editor I've ever come across. But DCS,
God, I love it.
oh, I know, absolutely brilliant. I wish it was like that in DCS. It'd be so much easier.
All right, I will have another one. If you could go to trigger action,
Yeah.
and type, and you have these three types once.
Yeah.
And usually I never use the switched condition. When you can use it?
Say for example you wanted, say if I I'll put a trigger zone down now just to start to do it. Right, so a new trigger zone, and then we go to set rows of trigger. Right, so if I go to switch condition, just call it new. Right, so say I wanted the condition to only happen if there was part of the coalition or part of our blue side in the zone. So,
Right, so every time, for example, a group passing the trigger zone, something happens.
yeah, so say like I'll just pick a radio one, right? So if I go blue, Let me just pick an aircraft. Right then, so say... Right, so say, for example, you were making a mission where you only wanted a... right, let me redo that, sorry. Right, so let me pick a ground unit, right. So say you had ground forces now, and you only wanted something to happen when they were in that zone. So say when they came into that zone, if you were trying to protect them, and the mission could only go forward by these ground units getting in the zone. Just pick the raid. Right, so go back to the rules here. One new. Right, so it can only happen once those ground units are in the zone. So we go all of group in zone, group 1, which is our one. Right, sorry. Create new vehicle group. Right, all location in zone, new trigger zone, new trigger zone. Right, so say when they get into that zone, you wanted to add a radio item to the F10 menu. Let me just try to find that now. Right. Radio item add. So if when they went into that zone, once they'd reached that zone, you wanted to say give coordinates for a strike. So say like use like a JTAC or whatever, and you wanted the coordinates. They could give the coordinates for that zone. You got the I've switched mine to MGRS coordinates, but you highlight that zone. So we'll just make it up here, right? We go 850 blah, 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 blah. So when those units are in that zone, that F10 menu will appear. If they get killed or they come out of that zone, it'll disappear. Does that make sense?
But I didn't really see the difference still between once and switched condition.
With once, if they're in that zone, it'll stay on. With switched condition, if they come out of that zone, it'll disappear.
Ah, okay, right.
So if they were in that zone, and you set them to, if they were attacked, to disperse, and they came out of the zone, or part of the group came out of the zone, though that F10 menu option would disappear.
So better naming will be like temporary condition or something like this.
Yeah. So say like we were in an air war now, and you weren't allowed to leave this zone, and you set the switch condition to activate. Say there was all SAMs around here, you weren't allowed out of a certain zone. If one of the aircraft came out of that zone, it could activate like 10 SAMs around the zone. But if you came back into that zone, they'd go away. Does that make sense?
Yeah, great. Thanks.
When I do...
Okay,
oh, sorry, Pat, go on.
No, Karen, what are you saying?
Oh no, I was going to say, because I've been doing it now, when I do stuff, I do it without thinking, trying to explain it now, my head's gone completely blank.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, I've got a question related to triggers.
Yeah.
Say I wanted if unit X is blown to smithereens, play radio message Y. How do I do that?
Yeah.
But here's the caveat: unit X needs to be anywhere on the map.
So say it again now, if they get blown up, you want to activate another unit.
So
somewhere
if
else.
unit X is blown up,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter where it's blown up, as long as it dies.
Yeah.
Play radio message Y.
Right, so say we set him...
So unit X is destroyed.
Right, so say him there now, we'll go back into the rules for trigger, change that to once. Right, so we went for him to die, group dead. That's the name of the group. So once they die, we want a radio message. You can set as many as you want in here as well, guys. So say you wanted a radio message, a sound, everything. You just click new like that then. Right, so we want a message to all. Again, you got message to all, message to a collision, message to just the group. So say message to all. Unit is dead. So unit is dead, and that's it. And that,
Right,
so when he
so
dies,
you don't need a trigger zone for that. What I'm
No,
saying,
sorry.
so I don't need to set up a trigger zone. I can have that happen anywhere on the map.
Oh yeah, you can have. So if he dies now, it doesn't matter about the zone, that'll come up.
Yeah, because the condition is not a zone, is not members in the zone. The condition is just group dead.
Yes, yeah. And you can have group dead, and if he dies, you want another group to activate. I haven't set another group up, but say if he died, you wanted reinforcements to activate. You just put them there in the same name group. So we put them down. Let's see if he gets taken out. Say your storyline was units are on the way, blah blah blah. He dies. Right, so with ground units you can have as many as you want. We'll call them reinforce. We'll just call them reinforce, and that'll name every one of them the same group then. Right, so we click on that group. We click on late activation, so they don't start when the game starts. Late activation, go back into the rules for the trigger. Right, upon them. Right, so when he dies, you want group. So that's that group there. So when he dies now, that group will activate. And then you just
Right, just to confirm, that can be done with aircraft, ships, infantry, anything you like.
Anything you like.
Is there any way, and I don't know if it's possible, is there any way of having user-controlled aircraft then able to spawn? So let's say players start out in F-15s.
Yeah.
And they've got, say, I don't know, a Russian bomber coming in. Once said Russian bomber is dead, players can then spawn in A-10Cs. Is that how you would do it? Would you set the A-10Cs to be client, the group activate to when Russian bomber is dead, and that would then activate the A-10s, yeah?
Yeah. And say you went with oh, wrong one. And again, any AI aircraft, apart from that, so say you go, you know, that's your tactical commander and JTAC and all that stuff. So as long as the boxes are ticked and the things are set, any AI aircraft can be controllable and diverted in the game.
What about, so I got another question related.
Yeah, Karen.
How, and this goes back to the multiplayer one, how do you get stuff to respawn? So like, you know how in multiplayer we can take up an A-10 50 times and it doesn't matter, it will still come back. How do we do that?
Let's go back to the rules of trigger. Right, so say you set a trigger zone, and again for the name to. Right, so say this group now was set to A-10 dies, and you wanted another one to activate, you just clone it. So I'd click on activate or dead, and just clone, and just clone it like that, and that'll keep on rotating then.
Right, but is that how you, like, so you know on the training map you can spawn as many times as you like? Is that how?
What do you mean though? The client or the AI?
The client.
Oh yeah, the client does make a difference. You can spawn as many times as you like with the client.
So what you're saying is, if an aircraft's set to client, you can always hit restart.
Yeah, as many with client, it doesn't matter. It's as many times as you want.
Right. So you only actually. So let's take for this example where you got 4 player-controlled aircraft. One of them gets knocked out because they're all set to client. It doesn't matter. You can just go back into the main menu, briefing, play,
Yeah.
and it spawns you back on the ground.
Yeah, the only way you can edit that is with scripts. So the only way you could do like that slot block script.
Yeah, that we tried to get working but kept killing the server.
Did it?
Yeah, it's why if you go to you can join the Spud, or you can fly my A10.
Ah, yeah. So it's only scripts that I know of that you can only sort of only go back and check after without sort of picking up and all that stuff. But basically all the triggers work the same. The ground units, the options for the units. Bullseye, you can move bullseye anywhere you want. So there's bullseye, you move it anywhere you want. Mission options. This side is to enforce the option. So if I didn't want to allow external views, check that box and check the value, and that'll stop anyone having external views then. There you've got the map only, my aircraft, fog of war, allies. Again, civilian traffic, blah blah stuff. The briefing. Only in the briefing you can set the time for the mission, the time and date. The year doesn't really make a difference. If you want to add images for your briefing, for the red and blue side, and the name of your mission, and which countries are for what. Weather, you can either have fully dynamic weather and generate, anticyclone, generate. Every time you click generate, it'll change it. If you want to pick a certain weather type for the whole mission, spring, thunderstorm, click load, and you'll see this change each time then. Precipitation, rain, thunderstorm. Define mission goals. How many slots you want available.
User joined your channel.
Templates. So that's a Patriot site template there.
User left your channel.
I just got the Patriot anyway. So that's a full Patriot site. It's a hell of a range on them.
Well, I've got a few more questions about the mission editor, but it's up to the other guys.
Can you tell a bit more about mission goals and conditions in the mission goal panel? What is it for? How do you use it? You are showing us. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay, that's clear. Yeah. Other triggers, yeah.
User joined your channel.
Oh, I think I must have missed something. So didn't you just say earlier that that condition bit was the was what happens, not what makes it occur? I think so. Right, how do you know the action? How do you know the action? Yeah, see, I don't understand it. How can bombing zone be the condition, and yet aerodrome is giving it to red? What you're saying is if they bomb red, if they bomb the aerodrome, but also red holds an APA.
Isn't the action is just providing a score to the coalition? I mean, if the condition is met, then the red coalition will get 100 points.
No, I don't think that's how it works, to be honest. At least that's not my understanding from what you've already said. I'm a bit confused. Thank you. You see what I mean? I think you're getting confused with how the conditions work. Right. Okay. So I'm confused as to what you're setting up now.
You need a website. Why not do it yourself? With Wix, you can
then wherever you set it up to be saved to, you just open DCS and then put it into your trigger then. So if I go into just see if I can find the file I had one in now.
Yeah, but we got a.
Is there anything else I can go over, guys, with the mission editor?
Oh, I'm sure there's hundreds of things, but I think right now we'd just, you know, personally, I'm kind of getting a bit overloaded and would just like to just settle down and hit it for a few times.
Yeah, what I'll have to do you know, even though I'm using script and all that stuff, do you know, like when I'm trying to explain it now, because I've gone over, because I've been messing around the script and stuff, my mind is completely shut off. When I do it, I don't think about it. But you know, trying to explain it though, I've gone completely bloody do that.
Don't worry. I think if you're happy for us all to sort of like just poke you when you're on and go, look, can you help do this on a mission?
Yeah, of course. If I show you something real quick now, hold on. Right, see, can you see the picture now?
Yeah.
This is a CTLD in script. Whoever done it has done an amazing job because they've made it so user friendly. So like say once it's open with Notepad, all your options are set to true or false. If set to true, if set to false, you can load crates without F10 menu. If you wanted to set it, if you wanted to sling load, you can just turn that off to change it to false. Maximum is just all the stuff is amazing that you can do. Is the name of your zones, what colour you want. So I've edited this one out, and then I've made two, like copy and pasted it, and then edited the second one to put into my DCS then, with like 1, 2, and 3 are all blue. My drop zones are all green. The names for anything that you want to use as transport has to be these names, or any zones have to be sort of these names. Medivac for rescue. If you want AI like C-130s to do stuff, extractable troops, logistic, static objects, bloody load of stuff. It's amazing.
To be honest, this is what I was searching for, like a micro encyclopedia of Lua.
Oh, I'll send you the link now.
I just found it on GitHub, right?
Yeah, that's the one. It's absolutely amazing.
That's really awesome.
You've got the link, have you?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like everything's explained so easy and brilliant. It's amazing. The JTAX auto lays in brilliant. So now if anyone wants to fly a Mirage or F5 with laser guided bombs, they can just bring up they can just press F10 and JTAX status, and he'll mark it with red smoke for you then. So I got that one.
Well, I'm going to I'm definitely going to have a fiddle with the audio program, get a couple of random bits set up, and then try and run a couple of missions for my own personal self, see if I can get triggers and stuff working that way.
Any help you need, just give me a shout. I'll if you just do TeamViewer, I'll come on with you. Like, see like the JTAGs now, you can set up JTAGs. You can either set up with a script for JTAGs as a crate, so you can load it onto your helicopter, take it into battle. Say you landed and dropped him off there, you could set him to JTAG there, and then set your script to, like mine now I've set for, because I've already got a JTAG in there and he's invisible and immortal, just to sort of, so anyone can use him. I set him to load after 2 minutes. That's JTAG 1. You will that's a script for auto lays, and he will be on laser code 1688. And then JTAG 2 is over here, and he's on JTAG 2 auto lays after 2 minutes on laser code 1690. You got spawn. I've got a trigger zone here on this area down here, so that if part of the blue coalition, when they get to between trigger zone 1 and 2, it will spawn a red 4 Su-27s over here, sort of south east.
Well, how do you get it? Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. How do you get it to spawn stuff that's do you have to like have? Is it only spawning once, or will it spawn multiple times?
Well, you can set it to spawn. If you clone that, you can set it to spawn multiple ones, or you can say like say when they get there. Say when they get to waypoint 1, halfway between waypoint 1 and waypoint 2, he'll spawn 4 Su-27s over here now. If I done a new condition, set time more for like a minute, and then a new one group activate again, and pick the same group, it'll spawn the same group again after like 2 minutes.
So hold on. So what you're saying is, let's say I have group X, let's say, and I have players fly into area 1, and then I have a condition that says if blue side, if any of blue flies into area 1, spawn group X, or activate group X. Is that how it works?
Yes. If I go into my if I unhide these now, if I go, I hide some of them, like James said, just to show all on the units. If I go to,
I take it you do that just so that you got an idea of what's going on the map, and because you don't need everything.
yeah, so like it, you can see what's going on then. So if I show all these, because if you do a big mission, it just looks like an absolute mess. Like if you want to spawn, not spawn, if you want like ships, because you've got big parts of water in 1.5 where a ship would look pretty cool, but you don't need any script to put like a ship or an aircraft carrier in a certain area inside of the ocean. You just got to do a trigger with a name. I'll show you the name now. So there we are. So right, so I got the spawn cap southeast there, so when the fighters hit that zone, these guys over here will spawn. So if I go to trigger zone, spawn southeast cap. Right, so if I went to new, time more, so if I go 120, 240, so for 240 seconds. And what's that group called? Southeast Cap. Right, so once they're there, they activate. I've set another condition to 240 seconds, which will activate them again. But if you wanted to activate them upon death, you just go condition southeast cap dead, action group activate southeast cap, and then just clone it. Does that make sense?
And that would work constantly.
If you'd have to keep cloning it to do it.
What I'm saying, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So what you're saying is if I would need to have on the map 50, say, southeast caps.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I might be wrong, but that's as far as I know.
Easy way of testing is to set up a helicopter, set up a Zeus, Shilka, sorry. Get into set Shilka, shoot the helicopter down and see if it respawns.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that in a minute.
So if I find the... If I try to find the now southeast cap. Oh, hang on. Right. Yeah, so if I set like them now, new condition, southeast cap dead, action activate southeast cap, and then clone condition, clone action, clone condition, clone action. So for every condition they die, the new action will be to spawn a new group, and you just spawn the condition and spawn the action.
Right, but what I'm saying is that group there called Southeast Cap.
Yeah.
I don't need to put 500 of them on the map.
No. Just keep cloning the actions and condition.
Sweet Jesus, that means I can have my shooting gallery training map that I wanted to set up.
Oh yeah. There's even some awesome script that there's one of the scripts you can download, like an easier one, where you can just load it into the mission, and say instead of doing multiple flights of AI, say there was 5 of us flying, you'd put this script in, and it'll only spawn aircraft to protect areas that, or it'll spawn random traffic, but it'll spawn aircraft to protect areas. So say Glen Chiswick were blue, they were blue, there's Tweffield here red, and they were crossing aircraft. It'll spawn new fighters on either side to go against each other or to protect their areas.
That's cool.
Yeah. Wow. That's beautiful. So just hide some of these now. Or if you just wanted to hide like this group here now, I'll hide all the AI. Just go hidden on map and he's gone.
Right, how do you do that? How do you show it again?
Unit list over here on the left. View unit list. And then say that one is hidden status. Just double click it and it'll unhide it. And the trigger zone list there. So what I've done for Sochi now, because on the last mission we were trying to take Sochi and the rest of the map. So what I've done all here is put just for effect, late activation for all these units. They're all called Sochi Force. So basically there's a trigger here called the trigger zone is in the water. So what I've done is set a C-130 and a C-17 to fly around down here to this waypoint and fly into Sochi. Once they get into this area, it'll activate all these units and a message will come up saying we've taken Sochi. Just for effect, that is.
That's cool. Alright, so I've got, go back to another point. You said you're familiar with the Armour Mission Editor?
Yeah. Well, not,
so you know
not 1,000,000%, but I know a bit, yeah.
Right. You know the cycle command you can give AI units?
Yeah.
is there an equivalent of DCS?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Bugger.
The
So I will have to just spawn it 50 times. I will have to just set it running the same set of 4 waypoints 50 times then.
Yeah, I find the DCS mission editor is really, compared to Armour, is very basic.
Yeah, but the shit you can do in both of them, oh my god, it's amazing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Armour mission editor is, oh, if only we had it like this. So I'll go back to hide all the stuff now. See, like there now, I put a FARP there. Couldn't see if there was enough room or nothing. I had to wait till I went into the mission to check it, and luckily it was pretty good.
Yeah, see, that's why I like the new Armour editor, because Armour's got the whole 3D editor. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to plop down a supersized unit. Oh, it still fits. Brilliant.
Yeah. So I've like set helicopters in there now to follow the waypoints, just hunt and engage basically anything they find. So delete that one, delete that. See, for the script and LCD, they've all got their own names. So like that's a create spawn zone. The logistic one is so that you have to be near that warehouse to spawn crate.
Right, Snake Off will be jumping off. Triple thumbs up for you. It was amazing, to be honest.
Yeah, sorry
Yeah,
guys.
it's been brilliant.
Hang on, babe, on. My mind's gone completely blank. When I do stuff, like I put all the missions together. I just think of it as I go along. But you know, trying to explain stuff now and remember how to do stuff, it's just completely blank.
Oh, you know, for me it rates. And I didn't suppose that this mission editor is such powerful tool.
Yeah, see, what I felt like when I done it, I watched a few YouTube videos, watched them, then went on the mission editor, had a mess about, and just a lot of picked stuff up as I went along. And when you start doing it, you'll just sort of do stuff not without thinking, but it'll just come like, and once you start building missions, you'll think of amazing stories as you're doing them, and they'll just come, they'll just bloody flock in then.